What's up, BookTube? There are quite a number of things that people like to do, us BookTubers, especially in the month of January. And one of the things that a lot of us probably think about a little bit more than at other times of the year, perhaps, are the much anticipated releases for 2021. And we tend to start pre-ordering. I'm going to talk about some of the books that I've already pre-ordered next. Alright, BookTube, so I have 3 books that are coming this week that I'm particularly excited about that I've already pre-ordered, and I want to talk about a little bit about some of these books and why I pre-ordered them and why they sounded interesting, and then maybe you can talk about in the comment section what are some books that you've already pre-ordered that you're particularly excited about here in 2021, because there are a lot of really good releases, and unfortunately I don't have unlimited funds to be able to buy all of the books that I truly want, so you got to be a little bit choosy about which ones you're actually going to pick. And part of that being choosy is which ones are you actually as sure as possible that you're going to read, because we as booktubers, many times we have to ball on a budget, so I got to stay budget conscious in 2021, and I'm guessing you probably are too, unless you have unlimited funds. That's a talk for another day. But for now, here's what I'm looking at reading in 2021. First up is You Have a Match by Emma Lord, which is going to be released on January the 12th. Let me read a little bit about this particular book. When Abby signs up for a DNA service, it's mainly to give her friend and secret love interest, Leo, a nudge. After all, she knows who she is already. Avid photographer, injury-prone tree climber, best friend to Leo and Connie, although ever since BEI, Big Embarrassing Incident, with Leo, things have been awkward on that front. But she didn't know she's a younger sister. When the DNA service reveals Abby has a secret sister, shimmery-haired Instagram star Savannah Tully, it's hard to believe they're from the same planet, never mind the same parents, especially considering Savannah, Queen of Green Smoothies, is only a year and a half older than Abby herself. The logical course of action? Meet up at summer camp, obviously, and figure out why Abby's parents gave Savvy up for adoption. But there are complications. Savvy is a rigid rule follower and total narc. Leo is the camp's co-chef, putting Abby's growing feelings for him on blast. And her parents have a secret that threatens to unravel everything. So I like the little bit of the mystery thing and the unknown sibling that becomes known and then the complications that arise from it. So I thought it was going to be a really interesting read, and I decided I was going to go ahead and pick that one up. It actually came pretty cheap. It was just $16, so I felt like it was worth it. It is considered a #1 new release in teen and young adult coming of age fiction on Amazon. Next up, also being released on January the 12th, is Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas, and this is a prequel to the overwhelmingly popular book, though in some eyes controversial, The Hate U Give. And if you haven't read that, you need to. And if you haven't seen the movie, you need to watch it. But I recommend reading the book before watching the movie. But that's another story. Let's talk about Concrete Rose. If there's one thing 17-year-old Maverick Carter knows, it's that a real man takes care of his family. As the son of a former gang legend, Mav does the only way he knows how, dealing for the King Lords. With this money, he can help his mom, who works 2 jobs while his dad's in prison. Life's not perfect, but with a fly girlfriend and a cousin who always has his back, Mav's got everything under control. Until, that is, Maverick finds out he's a father. Suddenly he has a baby, 7, who depends on him for everything, but it's not so easy to sling dope, finish school, and raise a child. So when he's offered the chance to go straight, he takes it. In a world where he's expected to amount to nothing, maybe Mav can prove he's different. When King Lord blood runs through the veins, though, you can't always just walk away. Loyalty, revenge, and responsibility threaten to tear Maverick apart. especially after the brutal murder of a loved one. He'll have to figure out for himself what it really means to be a man. So, first of all, I love The Hate U Give. It was really good. It was really powerful. And then the movie was good too. I enjoyed the movie. I liked the book more, but the movie was very good. And to get some backstory on it is really interesting to me. It's probably the direction that I would go if you were going to do a prequel to that book. So I'm excited to see what Angie Thomas has for us with Concrete Rose. My third and final pre-order that will be released on January the 12th at least is Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. Now, this is a book that I'm guessing is maybe going to end up being a little bit controversial, but I could be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time and probably won't be the last time I'd be wrong. But let's just talk a little bit about what this book is all about. Reese almost had it all: a loving relationship with Amy, an apartment in New York City, a job she didn't hate. She had scraped together what previous generations of trans women could only dream of: a life of mundane, bourgeois comforts. The only thing missing was a child, but when her girlfriend Amy detransitioned and became Ames, and everything fell apart. Now Reese is caught in a self-destructive pattern, avoiding her loneliness by sleeping with married men. Ames isn't happy either. He thought detransitioning to live as a man would make life easier, but that transition cost him his relationship with Reese, and losing her meant losing his only family. Even though their romance is over, he longs to find a way back to her. When Ames' boss and lover, Katrina, reveals that she's pregnant with his baby and that she's not sure whether she wants to keep it, Ames wonders if this is his chance he's been waiting for. Could the three of them form some kind of unconventional family and raise the baby together? So that's pretty deep there. Some deep topics that I'm sure are going to be definitely uncomfortable for some people, but those are kind of topics I think we should read more of, things that are going to make us uncomfortable. So I'm curious to see where it goes. It definitely got my attention, so we'll see whether I like it or dislike it. It's definitely something different than what I would typically read, but that's one of the things that I wanted to do a little bit more, is to challenge myself to read outside of my comfort zone. Next up, being released on June 7th, is The President's Daughter, a second collaboration book being co-written by James Patterson and President Bill Clinton. And so I read The President's Missing by James Patterson and Bill Clinton, and I really enjoyed it. And so I'm excited to see where this particular book is going to go, because I did enjoy The President's Missing so much. So let me tell you a little bit about what this one's all about, although I guess the title probably gives a little bit of it away. Let's see. Matthew Keating, a one-time Navy SEAL and past president, has always defended his family as staunchly as he has his country. Now those defenses are under attack. A madman abducts Keating's daughter, Melanie, turning every parent's deepest fear into a matter of national security. As the world watches in real time, Keating embarks on a one-man special ops mission that tests his strengths as a leader, a warrior, and a father. The author's first collaboration, The President is Missing, a New York Times #1 bestseller and a #1 best-selling novel of 2018, was praised as ambitious and wildly readable by the New York Times Book Review, and a fabulously entertaining thriller, Pulitzer Prize-winning author Robert Chernow. So I thought, it sounded really good. It's kind of interesting. One of the things in The President is Missing that was really cool is you got some behind-the-scenes stuff because of I think President Clinton's stature. He probably had some inside information about the way certain things happened behind the scenes in the White House and in terms of presidential life. And so I think that's one of the things that made The President is Missing so interesting. So I'm really looking forward to reading this second collaboration between James Patterson and President Clinton. Next up, being released on June 29th, is Survive the Night by Riley Sager. And those of you who know me now know that over the course of the year 2021, Riley Sager became pretty much an automatic buy for me. And I think this one would have been a good buy for me even if he had not been an automatic buy. Let me tell you about Survive the Night. It's November 1991. George H.W. Bush is in the White House, Nirvana's in the tape deck, and movie-obsessed college student Charlie Jordan is in a car with a man who might be a serial killer. Josh Baxter, the man behind the wheel, is a virtual stranger to Charlie. They met at the campus ride board, each looking to share the long drive home to Ohio. Both have good reasons for wanting to get away. For Charlie, it's guilt and grief over the murder of her best friend, who became the third victim of the man known as the campus killer. For Josh, it's to help care for his sick father, or so he says. Like the Hitchcock heroine she's named after, Charlie has her doubts. There's something suspicious about Josh, from the holes in his story about his father to how he doesn't seem to want Charlie to see inside the car's trunk. As they travel an empty highway in the dead of the night, an increasingly worried Charlie begins to think she's sharing a car with the campus killer. Is Josh truly dangerous, or is Charlie's suspicion merely a figment of her movie-fueled imagination? So I really like this kind of a closed circle trope, and it's a mystery there at the same time, and it just seemed like really good. I like the college aspect of it as well. It's just a thing that appeals to me, so I'm really excited about this. I don't feel like I've ever gone wrong with Riley Sager, so I'm looking forward to this again. Next up, being released on July the 13th, is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. And so this is one that I kind of stumbled across looking at a video from another YouTuber, and I thought, I'm a really interested party when it comes to the final girl trope because I grew up a big horror movie fan. So that's a great concept for me. Now, there's not a whole lot known about this book. I've seen a little bit more about it in some other places, but the brief description right now for it, and I'm sure more will be coming later, the next fast-paced, thrilling horror novel from the New York Times bestselling author of the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. And it just goes on to talk a little bit more about Grady Hendrix. But, you know, I'm really excited about, because the final girl concept just is really interesting to me and to a lot of other people. That's actually what introduced me to Riley Sager, because of his first novel that just really got me hooked on him and got me reading more of his books. So I'm looking forward to that one on July the 13th. And the last book that I've pre-ordered so far is For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. And I have two previous books by Samantha Downing. One is He Started It, which I did read, and the other is My Lovely Wife, which I didn't read because it was spoiled for me and I didn't like the ending the way that it was described in the spoiler. And so I have it on my Kindle. I just have not read it. I might not read it for those couple of reasons, but who knows? I might end up changing my mind. But anyway, back to this one. Okay. So, Teddy Crutcher has won Teacher of the Year at the esteemed Belmont Academy, home of the best and brightest. He says his wife couldn't be more proud, though no one has seen her in a while. Teddy really can't be bothered with the death of a school parent that's looking more and more like murder, or the student digging a little deep into Teddy's personal life. His main focus is on pushing these kids to their full academic potential. All he wants is for his colleagues and the endlessly meddlesome parents to stay out of his way. It's really too bad that sometimes excellence can come at such a high cost. And so I'm really always interested in books that take place at boarding schools and at college campuses because I'm familiar with both. And so those really kind of intrigue me quite a bit. And so I'm excited about this one. You know, like I said, I read He Started It, and it was good. I didn't really like the ending, but it was good. And ironically enough, I don't know if the third time will be consistent with the first two, because I haven't read My Lovely Wife because I don't like what I've heard the ending is. And so we'll see how I feel about this one. But conceptually speaking, it sounds really good, so I'm really excited about it. And that was one of the reasons I decided to pick it up. So there you have it. Those are my pre-orders so far for 2021. I am guessing pretty reasonably that there will be more pre-orders coming up as more books and more information about books are revealed. There's a fourth book in the Truly Devious series. I have the first three. I've not read them, but I am looking at that one. Possibly, if I can get at least Truly Devious read, I might end up picking up that fourth book as well. Time will tell, and I'm sure, again, as I said, other things will come up, and I'm sure I'll probably be doing more pre-orders. But again, I'm balling on a budget, so I got to be a little bit careful. But at the same time, who doesn't like buying books? Seriously.